round of finals weekend, mate. It was a pretty big round, actually, to be totally honest. The 2 big days of footy, Saturday, Sunday. All the teams in the top 6, bar the top 2 participating on the weekend in elimination finals, first time in the NRRRL.
6 becomes 4.
6 becomes 4, moving forward into the competition. So tonight we're going to do a round the grounds. We're going to go through each game in each grade at each ground Saturday and Sunday. We're going to have a bit of a look at the week to come, who's playing who in the zoo, and then also who we think we can motivate this weekend. We've got a bit of a motivational factor going on at the moment, haven't we?
Yeah, everyone loves
but
the
we're going to
podcast.
get to mate, I'll tell you what, we're getting smashed.
Yeah.
Both by people who are hitting us up on the podcast, and we're also getting smashed by people who give us a gobful.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about that tonight as well, because it's all fun and games. It actually is. I'm enjoying it. I'm actually loving it.
That's good.
So, you know what the worst part about it is? When I get sprayed for something that you did.
Yeah, I know.
So I love that. So tonight we're going to talk a bit about the banter, and we love the banter.
We love the banter.
Even when
Keep it coming.
Even when I'm trying to coach a game of footy, still copping it. But anyway, so let's get into it, mate. Let's look at the weekend's rounds.
Let's do it. Let's jump straight into Saturday's games, eh?
I'm going to hand it all over to you, mate. I'm going to give you something to do tonight.
About time.
So let's go on the Saturday.
All right, let's jump straight into the Saturday games at the Evans Head Bombers Stan Payne Oval.
Stan Payne, what a windy bloody day.
You were there?
Yeah, I was there, mate.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
I had to go. I had to run the water. No, actually, I didn't run the water. I helped out with our ladies' league tag and our 18s.
Oh, yeah.
I did something that I've never done this season. I actually haven't done for quite some time. I actually had to wear the ground official, or what is it? This is the ground, not announcer, but the ground
manager?
The ground manager's T-shirt. Yeah. Never worn it before, and I had the opportunity to put on the purple vest.
Yeah, you've done nothing. I've seen kids over the fences and stuff. You've done nothing.
At the game?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll talk about it when we get to the whatevers, because it was a bit funny. But anyway, so let's get into the.
Right,
let's get into
straight
it.
into it. So our first game was the ladies' league tag. Balamble up against the Northern United Dirrawongs. The Balamble Jets too good, mate. 28-0.
28-0, mate. I'll tell you, I'm going to be honest. I actually thought this was going to be a pretty tight game. But, mate, the Balamble girls, they showed up. They were red hot. And on top of that, I know Northern had a couple of key outs in young Savannah Roberts, Ickling, and Phoenix Hippi. Mm-hmm. Both those two young ladies, we actually didn't probably realise, to be totally honest, what impact those two players being out would have had. But they had a significant impact on that game, by not being there. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I thought it was going to be a lot closer, as I said, but, mate, it wasn't close. It's 28 zip.
Taking nothing away from the Balamble Jets girls, mate. They've been good the last few weeks, and I'm actually surprised that they didn't finish higher on the ladder than what they did.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, I'm pretty sure the game we played Balamble this year in the ladies' league tag, I'm pretty sure we won that game.
No.
Didn't we?
The start of the year we got flogged 50.
Well, I wouldn't even know because I was in hospital.
No, they put 50 on us.
Okay.
The first time we played them.
Well, this time was 28. Mm-hmm. So all up in total, I put about 70 or 80 on our team this year, which probably indicates. I mean, I probably thought our girls were in it more than what they were. They looked pretty confident in the sheds and during the warm up. So I was a bit surprised at the result, to be totally honest. But look, that's footy. The Balamble girls move on in the competition. They become one of the teams to go through to round 2 of eliminations. Mm-hmm. And obviously the Northern United team bow out Mad Monday.
Yes.
Oh, silly Sunday.
Silly Sunday. All right, let's move on to under-18s. Byron Bay Red Devils against the Northern United Dirrawongs, and the Byron Bay Red Devils 48-16.
I'm going to go back to the game we played. I'd never really had a good look at the Byron Bay under-18s team at all. Okay. We played them this year over there on their home ground, and I think at the end of that game I actually walked up and said to you, they're a pretty good damn side, that under-18s team for Byron Bay. Mate, I'll tell you, there was the big thing that stood out for me in this game is their number 13. I don't know who the kid is, but I've done a bit of homework behind the scenes outside of post that game. The number 13 for the Byron Bay under-18s has been signed by the Raiders for 2024.
There you go. I think they've had a few of their young fellas signed for next year. I believe I saw on one of their social medias that another one was signed with the Melbourne Storm, and maybe one more signed with the Warriors, maybe.
Okay,
even?
so mate, that's an interesting signing.
So,
Warriors, a kid
yeah.
going from the Bay.
I'll have to check out my socials for that.
I'll tell you what, that would be one of the most interesting signings for any young kid that comes from the Northern Rivers of a town called Byron Bay. Is going to take the jump over the ditch, go to the Warriors country, and the only thing I can say to him is, to his mum and dad, I think it's well done, and to the young kid, well done. But my advice would be, can you pack some bloody warm clothes, because it is freezing over there.
I better get my sources right first.
Yeah, so look, mate. But in saying that, I'm just going to go back to that the young kid in the 13 for Byron Bay. He's been signed. I spoke to someone on the weekend, on the Sunday, that's from the Byron Bay Footy Club.
Yep.
And mate, this young kid's been signed down there by. It was actually not just their head of recruitment, but it was a pretty big call by the current coach, Ricky Stewart, for the signing of this young kid. So I'm going to get you to have a look at who the young kid is. But mate, I watched him on the weekend. He carries with the ball. One of the comments that was made from the staff member from Byron Bay that I spoke to is that he hasn't got much of a passing game. And my comment to that was, at this stage and at this age, teams like the Raiders aren't signing kids like that to pass the ball. He's got a strong running game. He's great defensively. He punches holes in teams. He knows when to run. He knows how to run. He knows how to find space, mate. And they're the big things that, coaches at the top level look for. The young kid, Jesse Sorick. He's the kid that signed with the Warriors.
Yeah, that's the one who signed with the Warriors.
Jesse Sorick. Who's the other young kid that signed?
The one that signed with the Melbourne Storm is Colby Ward.
Colby Wood.
Colby Wood.
He's, what is he? He's a back rower? No, he's a half. Who's the 13? Who's the 13, mate? He's got to be on their list as well.
I'm not sure. I'll have a look
while
you get into the Coogin Byron game.
So, mate, so that was the end result, 48-16 to the Byron Bay Devils, under-18s team over the Northern United team. The last thing I'm going to say on this is, from the start of the season to now, I've said that this team is one team to watch, and I think they can go deep into the final series. I actually think they can give the competition a shake, to be honest. I think they can give the hot favourites, Tweed Seagulls, a run for their money, and I'm tipping a Byron Bay Tweed Seagulls GF. There you go, in the 18s. My bold prediction. So, not dishing on the other under-18s team left in the competition, but I think they're the hot favourites to be playing in a GF at the end of the year. Okay, let's go on and have a look at the reserve grade result, mate. Over to you.
Coogin versus Byron, 46-10. Coogin Hornets.
Mate, reigning premiers. I know they didn't finish in the top two.
Firing at this time of year, aren't
mate,
they?
I'll tell you, I only watched half of this game, and if I was the two teams above them at the moment, in Bilambil and Ballina, I'm going to be saying it's going to be a repeat of next year's grand final, Coogin v Bilambil.
A repeat of next year's grand final?
Last year's. Sorry. Freudian. Every now and then it happens. I've had a long day, everybody. Bear with me tonight, podcasters and our viewers out there. I've gone back to back to back. And that's not and that's not grand finals. That's in meetings at work. So very rare. But anyway, in saying that, as I said, I think it's going to be a repeat of last year's grand final, Coogin v Bilambil in the GF this year.
Yeah, so a solid win there to Coogin. And now we'll move on to our first grade game. Evans Head versus Coogin, and Coogin Hornets run out victorious, 24-16.
Mate, I'm just going to... Yeah. Look, I've had a look at this game.
I've had a look too.
Mate, and to be totally honest, 35 to 40 minutes into this game, the Bombers looked like they were there. Mm-hmm. I thought they had the game, mate. I'm not quite sure what happened in the last 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. Coogin seemed to gain some ascendancy. I think they had some good pushes through the middle. I think Caleb Zeeble showed his hand a couple of times on the edge with a little flick pass out the back in one of their tries, pushing it on the Dewey in the centres, who flicked another flick pass out to the winger to finish off in the corner. But at that time, at that stage in the game, I think it was 16-6 or 16-4 before the comeback started.
Yeah, it got to about the 58th minute mark where Coogin really asserted their dominance and end up running away with the game. So around the 60-minute mark, like I mentioned before.
60 minutes.
60 minutes, which Tooley reminded me about. 60 minutes.
So interesting. You got a bit of a. I'm going to leave that 60-minute comment. I'm going to leave that
For later.
For later. You did call that. You did say, I think a couple of weeks ago you mentioned something to the words to the effect of 60 minutes, and we're going to cover a little bit of that off in the whatevs. But yeah, look, mate, 24-16. Again, Coogin, another team that I said, and I think me and you had a pretty heated debate about this. I actually said that Coogin in the back end of the season could turn something on. And mate, they've gone into the first week of semis down at Stampone Oval on Evans' home ground.
Which is not easy to do.
No, it's not, mate. Well, I know that from 2 weeks ago. But 16-4 or 16-6 going into the halftime break. Then it got to 16-8 or 16-10. And then obviously from that point forward, that was all she wrote. Evans had bow out of the competition for 2023. Had a good run last year in the final series. They were hoping to emulate that finals run. Mate, I don't think they had the cattle to do it this year. I think they were playing banged up. I think they had Aiden...
he was out.
Aiden Kennedy was out. I think their back rower, who's been a power of strength 2 years ago at Ballina, was a power of strength to their run last year in
Shilo?
Young Shilo. Shilo, I know, was carrying a fair few injuries going into the back end of the season. I know they also had injuries off their bench in their front row. So look, I think
losing Trevor Bolt.
Yeah, losing Trevor. I think at the time that they did put a bit of a dent in their run home. In saying that, I'm just going to say
they've done well.
I think it was Roy Bell's one of Roy Bell's better seasons for the last few seasons. I think he really took control of that team, and mate, he played his butt out to try and get these boys on that run again. They talked that run up last week after the win over Northern, but mate, she's all come crashing down. And then on Sunday afternoon, they were on Silly Sunday, and I'm not quite sure whether they went into the Mad Monday, but Evans Head season for 2023, she's all over. Elimination finals, and then Coogin progressed through to this weekend's Elimination Final Series 2. And that would be the roundup of the Saturday games down at Stampone Oval in Evans Head.
Congratulations, Evans, for making the semis.
Mate, congratulations to all the team. Balamble in the league tag, Byron Bay in the under-18s, Coogin Hornets in the reserve grade, and the Coogin Hornets again in first grade. So well done to all those teams in round one of the Elimination Final Series on Saturday down at Evans Head.
Yes. Let's move into Sunday.
Sunday, mate.
Big day out at Oaks Oval, Lismore.
And we started off with the ladies' league tag, Ballina versus Tweed Coast.
Did you get to watch this one?
I did.
I didn't get there till
Mate,
later.
I'm going to tell you something. From minute 1 to minute 50, 25 minutes each way, obviously, in this. Ballina, mate, they look
good.
They look pretty good. They actually, to be honest, I think Ballina can do something special this year in that women's league tag series. I think Abby Beecher was phenomenal, mate. She was great in the women's tackle final for Northern, and then on the weekend, mate, she was sharp at a dummy
everywhere.
Half. Mate, she defended well. She organised her team. They just looked really good across the park. They jumped out of the blocks, and Tweed Coast Raiders played catch up from minute 1. And they just couldn't peg these girls back. They looked like they had a couple of good weeks behind them. They looked like they wanted it more, and they played that way, mate, and they got the result 28-10.
Congratulations there to the Ballina Seagulls, who move on to next week. Yep. The Lower Clarence Magpies up against the Balamble Jets in the under 18.
This was a good game.
Was a good game, wasn't it?
Back
and forth, try.
I actually think, look, as dominant as what Byron Bay was over Northern, this game ebbed and flowed. You didn't both teams had the lead at different times in the game.
Yep.
I think Lower Clarence started the game well. They Balambal boys had a comeback phase just before half-time. Lower jumped out of the blocks again really well just after half-time. Balambal came back, and, mate, it was just one of those games. It was just really entertaining.
It could have went either way, couldn't it?
I'll tell you what, it was very hot, and it was played at one hell of a... This game was played at one hell of a pace. Like, it was pretty hectic at points. I know the referees that refereed this game and the touchies came off at the end of the game, and I'll tell you right now, they were wringing wet. Mm-hmm. That game just ebbed and flowed. No one knew who was going to win. It took the last, I think, 6 minutes of the game is where Balambal gained the ascendancy.
They iced the game.
Yeah, they iced it, mate. Their halfback was really, really good. He controlled the game when he wanted to. He injected himself into the game. He actually scored, I think, one of the best tries of the season, where he's gone shaped to the left, went like he was going there, played a little unders ball, backed up on the inside, and then went through adjacent to the post. And I think could have been the last try of the game. And I knew at that point the game was over.
Good win there to the Balambal Jets.
36-26.
Yep,
So
beautiful.
So how many points is that in it? 10. There you go. My brain's not working calculation-wise. So 10 points in the game. Well done to the Balambal Jets in the under-18s. They progressed through to elimination final series 3 next week.
The reserve grade game. How good was that? Did you watch it?
Mate.
We watched bits of it.
I'm going to be honest, I watched the first 10, 15 minutes, then went into the sheds, start to get my boys ready.
I stayed outside and watched a bit more.
Yeah, and then obviously during the warm-up phase we got to see...
We were watching a little bit, weren't we?
Mate, first game of the final series in 2023 to go into extra time. It was a bit confusing because I think around the ground, everyone assumed that it was going to be straight into golden point. That's not the case. So the way the final series plays itself out, if any game is drawn at full time, it's 10 minutes each way.
Yep.
If the game is still drawn after the 10 minutes each way, then we go to golden point.
Yep.
So this game went into extra time, 10 minutes each way, and it went right down to the last 60 seconds. And the score ended up 22-20.
To the Magpies. The mighty Magpies.
Mwoolumbar Mustangs scored last. Conversion to go to draw the game, missed a conversion. They still had the ball in the last 60 seconds, so they had a full set to finish the game. Looked like they created one opportunity that was going to open it up, but Lower Clarence's last-ditch defence, sealed the deal, and 22-20 to end the game.
In extra time. What a cracker.
Mate, we got something to talk about in this game as well. Towards the end of it, I think the try that put them into extra time, we copped a bit of a serve from a player who looked around at me and said, basically, who's winning now, Benji?
And Les.
And well, I didn't even hear the Les bit, but they pointed at us.
I love it.
They pointed at us and said, and I had no idea.
I love getting my tips wrong.
I had no idea that
I tipped against
we were going to get served, and two, what the serve was about, until we had to go back, and I actually turned around and said, mate, Foxy, what's that about?
What'd you do?
And I was like, I didn't do anything. But apparently, you made a call in last week's podcast.
I must have tipped the Mustangs.
You made a call in last week's podcast that basically set the fire. And we're going to talk about that fire that was set when we get to the whatevs.
How good is
But it was a good serve. We're going to pay the serve, and we're going to have a little bit of a yarn about how interesting the podcast has been the last few weeks of the competition, and also the first week of final series.
Oh, it's good, isn't it?
It's great. And we're going to have a video about that in the whatever section. So mate, 22-20, yes. Lower Clarence Magpies progressed their way through to the elimination game 3 on Saturday up at Oaks Oval. So well done to the Lower Clarence Magpies. I think you're the only team this year in that club, apart from their ladies tackle team, to progress further in the competition.
Beautiful. Mate, we'll move right along to the main game, the first grade fixture between Northern and Lower. A lot of history here between Northern and Lower, and it didn't disappoint, did it?
Mate, I'm just going to say, I'm going to be really honest about this. I was a bucket of nerves. I try to play the cards.
I saw you in the sheds. I said, you're nervous saying you go.
Nah, mate,
Yeah.
yeah, mate, I don't really own. I never normally own that stuff.
Yeah,
I usually
I
try
know.
to put on the cool, the cool face. No, I've got it all together. It's all good, mate. I'm good. Mate, I'm going to be honest.
It's natural. I think every semi-final.
I'll tell you when the nerve started. You want to know when the nerve started?
When?
Saturday afternoon when I left Evans Head. I walked out of there and I jumped in a car. I think I had one of the quietest nights ever at home. I jumped in the car, we came over, we did the setup of the ground for our game on Sunday.
Yes.
Played the cool card. I got a few comments, during the setup of the ground and getting ready for the next day, going, "Oh, mate, how you thinking? How you going?" And I kept saying, "No, I'm good. I'm really good. Looking forward to tomorrow." But underneath, I was a bag of nerves. And then obviously the next morning, I tried to play it again, cool. Created a bit of banter out there, but. Try to relax. I couldn't relax because it was the first time I've been to a game of footy on a game day where I wasn't running around trying to do stuff. I wasn't involved in helping out maybe the ladies' league tag or our under-18s or our reserve grade, trying to provide some support to the coaching staff in Northern. I sat down with our captain, Hezekiah McKenzie, and said to him, "I'm bored. I don't know what to do." And when I'm bored, that's when I think. That's when I get nervous.
And you get annoying.
And I become a little bit annoying. So anyway, that being said, mate...
Lower jumped out of the blocks, mate. Got the first try.
Yeah, do you want to have a look at it?
Yeah,
let's have a quick look at it. Yeah, look, Lower did jump out of the blocks on the weekend. And, mate, 3.5, 4 minutes into the game, they got a good attacking opportunity down in our half. I was a bit worried. We started jumper grabbing, as you can see. At this point, I'm going, we're all good. We got the defensive patterns worked. And then Duggo, who, as we all know, plays 5'8" as a front row, jumps out and hits that ball out to the winger. And you know what I thought? Oh, here we go again. Mm-hmm. I still tried to keep it cool. At that point. But I also thought, you know what? This could be the thing that actually... I didn't see it as a bad thing. I actually thought this could be the thing that we needed to kick us into gear, and mate, that's exactly what it did. I mean, I think going into the next phase is where I think our game clicked in. Our defensive structures become better. Our attacking opportunities became sharper. I know everyone was a bit worried going this game because we had a big out in Jamal Roberts at hooker. But, mate, we made a pretty good adjustment, I think, in Ray Buchanan. He was an instant step in and an instant success. Yeah. And his combination, sharing that role with Akeem Torrance really paid off for us. So, yeah, going into our first try, mate, it was pretty good. Set up here on the back of a good phase. We talked about sticking to structure, sticking to our game plan, doing us, not worrying too much about the opposition. And I think we set this one up really well. With, looking at the game and Gigi, look at him, look at this, mate. How about this for a run from a front rower? Jumped out, pushed off, mate, 25 metre, passed through the,
Just a quick turn of speed, didn't he?
He showed a really good turn of speed, young Jaro Breckenridge.
He's been good all year.
Mate, I think this is the fittest he's been in a very long time. His form from round one to now has been outstanding. I'm just going to go out on a limb, mate. I think he's the forward of the competition at the moment. I haven't seen too many front rowers. I know this weekend we've got a tough game, and I know Ballina's got a good pack of forwards, but mate, he's been outstanding.
Yeah, he's been playing big minutes too, hasn't he? So
pig minutes for a pig forward.
Big minutes for a big forward.
So yeah, mate. Look, I don't know if we're going to look at this try for try, but there's a fair few tries scored in this game, so we might just let this roll through.
Yeah, we'll just let it roll through.
Look, the score ended up, while it's playing out, we're just going to let this roll through. Yeah. And we're going to talk about... So, look, we end up, I think, our first half performances really set up our back end. The good thing for me, coaching-wise, is we stuck to our game plan, we stuck to our structures, we got through our sets, completions was key to result, and we did that really well, but I actually think this victory is on the back of our defence.
Yeah, I think the game really changed too when John Jarrett and Alan Roberts come into the game off the bench.
They've been great.
They've been really good all year, and I just think they gave you that extra oomph off the bench.
Do you know what? I think I've had one of the hardest decisions to make going into that game. There was a lot of conjecture about what I do with the team in relation to our starting size. Our starting side, we're talking about potentially starting John to give us some really good, get us away to a good start. I just felt that we've got a good starting team, and we need we need to make sure that our bench is just as good as what we start, and we get some punch. And look, John Jarrett definitely provided that. Alwyn Roberts has been great all year as well for us. A lot of people don't know. Alwyn's a legend of our competition. He's played at Ballina. He's played at Northern.
Marsh Brothers.
Marsh Brothers. And everywhere he's gone, he's just done his job, and that's what he's doing for our team. He's the senior bloke in this team that actually is the gel that I needed to pull these young blokes together. And he's done his job outstandingly, mate, for us. And I just think on the back of that, our bench is as good as what our starting team is, and I think that's a good position for us to be in going into the rest of the final series.
Mate, young William back in the 7.
Mate, he's been out for the last few weeks, and he's a big key to everything we've done this year, young William James, and no doubt he's going to be as big as what we're going to need him this weekend. But yeah, no, he's been great for us as well. Hakeem Torrance, no one really heard of Hakeem Torrance before this year. He's a good in for us at 6. Mate, Clarence Kelly and the Clarence Kelly, Damon Corbell combination's working well for us as well. And mate, the young bloke there running across the field in number 14, young Desmond Ferguson's first year of first grade, full time this year out of the Ballina under-18s. And I think his combination with Hakeem Torrance, William James, I just think we've got a well-balanced rugby league team over at Northern this year, and a team that are willing to work well for each other. And based on the back of that, mate, we got a good result on the weekend, 40-16.
Yeah, good result there from Northern, and they move on to next week.
Yeah, mate, we go into the game next week, so we host this weekend.
But mate, Lower Clarence, what a year for the Lower Clarence Magpies.
Oh, mate, they've been outstanding.
Making the final series,
mate, they've been absolutely outstanding. Look at this, Ezekiel McKenzie. How good's he been?
He's been really
our
good.
Captain. Mate, we hope. Well, I'm just going to go out. I'm happy to make the call. He's been great for us this year. Obviously, he's had a season with Northern before. He's been down at Brothers. He's had his juniors through the Brothers system. He's a well-developed, well-grounded young man. Great young family. He's come to our club this year looking for success. He wanted to play finals footy. He said that at the start. He's got his opportunity to lead the team this year as a captain. I think he's been absolutely outstanding. And, mate, there's big plans moving forward beyond this year with Ezekiel.
I did have a ref say to me on the weekend that he feels Hezekiah McKenzie is the best captain he's had to deal with.
Oh, mate, that's outstanding. I mean, I think that's great. Feedback from those blokes who officiate the game. I think for me, the big thing for me is I sat down with Ez and had a talk with him just over 12 months ago. Just over 12 days ago, and talked about this year. We talked about where we're at. We talked about, what the plans are moving forward for him. And mate, he's definitely put out the to shut all the rumours and all the innuendo. Mate, he's 100% committed with us next year moving forward. He wants to be at the club. He wants to maintain the success of what we're building here at Northern. And he wants to be a part of something special. So that's great news for us as a club moving forward. If there's anyone you want to keep around, it's players like him. Players like him, also have the ability to have other players want to stay and be involved and be a part of something special. And I think that's what we want to try and build on moving forward. So, yeah, so we move on, mate. We move on to the second or third phase of elimination finals.
Congrats, Lower. Great season.
Yeah, great season. Well done to Duggo. Well done to the committee down there at Lower Clarence Magpies. Oh, mate, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with
for the
next couple of years, mate.
Great. Especially by the look of that under-18s team on the
great
weekend.
Young group of blokes down there in their first grade team. Good young under-18s team. Good reserve grade. Great women's tackle team. So those sort of things for Lower Clarence is going to put them in a good stead moving forward into 2024. And that being said, as I said, mate, Northern United now move on to the third phase of elimination finals at home. Oaks Oval, Saturday.
Let's look into them now, yeah?
Yeah, let's look into next week's elimination final on Saturday.
Saturday, elimination final.
In the Ladies League Tag.
Belamble Jets versus Ballina Seagulls.
Yep, I'm tipping.
Are we going to tip or...
Oh, mate, I am.
We're going to tip?
Yeah, we are.
Oh.
I'll tell you why. It'll come up in the whatevs, but I'll tell you why. We either give other teams and other clubs motivation,
Yeah, let's do
and their motivation is to, and I'm glad that every club in the NRRRL are watching our podcast. This is your podcast, so look, tap your mate on the shoulder, hit your mates up on Facebook, tell them to get onto the podcast.
Keep feeding me when I get it wrong.
Keep feeding the big Foxy. As long as it's a healthy feed, he's always up for it. We love the banner. We love getting involved and engaged in other clubs wanting to come up and give us a serve. Come up and have a yarn. Talk to us about your clubs, how they've gone this year.
Especially when we get it wrong, because we don't really get it wrong very much, do we?
So what we're going to do, talking about Saturday and Sunday's rounds, I know you didn't want to do this, but I'm going to do it. We're going to tip what we think's going to happen this weekend.
Okay, so
I'm going to go out on a limb. Based on performances, I'm picking this.
I'm going the Belamble Jets.
I'm going Ballina Seagulls. Ballina Seagulls. And I'm going to say it's going to be a close game, a tight game, but I'm saying Ballina by 8.
All right, I'm going the Jets.
There you go.
Under 18s, Belamble Jets versus Byron Bay.
Byron Bay by 20.
Byron Bay, close.
No, I'm saying by 20, mate. I think Byron Bay. I watched the Belamble Jets play Byron Bay in probably their last round game against each other, which I think was probably like 2 or 3 games for the end of the season. On that day down at Belamble come out the winners. I think Byron's going to learn from that. I think their coach, I think it's Brad Purtell over at Byron. He's done a great job with those kids. They've got a great supporter base.
Well, they had a couple of their young boys playing first grade too.
Yeah, mate, and that experience is going to be invaluable.
Yep.
And based on that, tight game, close game, Byron by 10.
Yep, I'm saying Byron.
I did say 20 earlier. I'm taking that back. I'm rolling it back. Sorry, Byron. Sorry, Brad. I'm going to say Byron by 10.
All right. Coogin versus Lower in the reserve grade.
Well, I'm going to leave this one to you, mate. You're the tipster of the reserve grade competition this year. I know what I'm going to... I'm going to let you come out with what you think, and then I'm going to back up what I'm going to say.
I like the look of Coogin. I'm going Coogin.
I've already tipped Coogin to play Belamble in the grand final, so I'm actually going to go. And I'm just going to go out there. Cody, you're probably going to hate me for this. And the Cody I'm talking about is Cody Walker, Big Coat. I'm saying Coogin and Coogin to win well. I think what might come back on Lower is the extra time efforts. I think that's going to come back later in the game. In their second half, I think they're going to be out on their feet.
All right. The main game, Northern United versus the Coogin Hornets.
Mate, I'm going to say this is going to be one hell of a game. This is going to be, I think, from what I'm hearing, Coogin have a big in. They get back from their Queensland Cup Tweed Seagulls. They get, I think it's Connor Zeeble. So they've got 2 of the Zeeble brothers back in the team this week. They've got a well-balanced forward pack, a big, huge pack. They've got, I think their outside backs were really good on the weekend based on their forward role. I don't know. There's an interesting... They've got Andrew Batiste starting at 9, but they've got a bloke on the bench, number 14.
He was good, wasn't he?
He was, mate, I did some video on the kid too, and I can tell you right now, there's going to be some more video out after tonight's podcast, because I think that kid made a bit of a difference. He's smart. He jumps out of dummy half a fair bit when teams are vulnerable. I know you and Goffey are pushing me to tip this game. I'm just going to go out and say this is what my prediction is. It's going to be close. It's going to be placed to. It's going to be definitely going to be a close game. It's going to be played at one hell of a pace. I think the conditions are going to be a bit of a factor. It's going to come down to 2 things: possession. It's going to come down to defensive efforts, and the team that wants it the most. They're my 3 factors.
Yep. I'm just going to go and tip Northern in a close one.
There you go.
I'm going to keep it simple.
You're going to keep it simple? I overcomplicated that. But I'm going to say I'm confident. I'm not cocky. I'm just confident in if our boys can emulate.
Goffey's gone Northern by 15.
If we can emulate our performances in defence and we can emulate efforts throughout the season, I think we can get the result.
All right. Sunday games. This is the major semi-final. So
This is to host the GF.
this is the host of GF. We'll start with the lower grades, and in the Ladies League tag, Coogin versus Marsh Brothers.
I can't go past this Coogin League State team.
No, I'm with you. Coogin. Tweed Seagulls versus Moolumbar in the under-18s.
Mate, I'll tell you what. I've seen a lot of Tweed Seagulls this year. I think they're good. They're coached really well. They're a group that's been together for a long period of time. You can see that. I'm just going to say this, though. There was a noticeable out on the weekend. I know they didn't play on the weekend, but I've seen someone in a moon boot. The young kid Akora, the halfback that's been playing first grade for Evans Head.
Yep.
He didn't play on the weekend. If you would watch the Evans Head v Coogin game, he was a big out. He's been a big part of Evans' run home in the first grade team. He's a huge part of that under 18s team. Now, I've seen him in a moon boot. I don't know if there's a lower leg. There definitely is a lower leg injury. He was on crutches as well. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to say, if he's out, I'm tipping Moolumbar. If he's in, I'm tipping Tweed.
I'm just going to go and tip Moolumbar if he's in or out.
You like Moolumbar?
I like Moolumbar.
Yeah. So
I just think they can cause the upset.
Well, mate, you know what? I watched the game last year. I actually think it was a grand final game. No, it wasn't. It was an elimination final at Byron Bay, and it was Moolumbar Mustangs under 18s v Ballina. And I think they beat Ballina on that day. And mate, they're got a huge. Their under 18 team's bigger than their first grade team. It's again another group of kids that have been through junior league together, under 18s. But in saying that, I actually think the big in or out in this one is the halfback for Tweed Seagulls, young Cora.
All right. Reserve grade, Belamble Jets versus Ballina Seagulls.
Belamble.
Me too.
By a big margin too, by the way.
I'm going tough one.
Tough one?
Yep.
Okay.
Mate, the first grade, Ballina versus Belamble. Who you tipping to host the grand final?
I'm hoping we play Ballina in a GF.
Yeah. So you're hoping Ballina go straight through to the GF.
But I've got, on one hand, I'm saying that. On the other hand, I've got a personal problem with this game. I have got a personal problem with this game. My son's playing first grade this weekend.
Is he? Ooh.
For Belamble Jets.
There
From
you
what
go.
I'm hearing, I think he's coming off the bench.
Yep.
So I'm saying Ballina with my football brain. I'm saying Belamble with my heart brain. Only because I'll be down there on Sunday after we hopefully do a job on Saturday to watch him run around for Belamble in first grade. So there's a shout out there to young Chris. If you are definitely playing first grade this weekend, the only thing I'd say, my fatherly advice is make sure you pull your finger out. I'm not going down to waste my time and waste a day. I want to see you have a crack. And
I might go down and heckle him.
how about, listen, I'll tell you what, I don't know whether Goffey can pull this off. But if he does, I think it'll be really good. Would Bar TV be up to a three-way commentary? I don't know whether the young bloke that does the commentary for Bar TV would be up for this either. But if you're up for a challenge, let's invite the Gingy and the Fox into the commentary room and actually provide some. I'm just going to say it, some real entertainment. Look, I've had that many people come to me over the last 3 weeks. And this is no dish on the young guy that does the commentary for Bar TV, but I've had that many people come up and say, why aren't you and the Foxy doing commentary for Bar TV during the final series? And my only comeback to that was, I can't coach and commentate at the same time. So we definitely got Sunday free. Bar TV, if you want your ratings to go through the roof, have a yarn to the young bloke that does the commentary. Get the Gingy, Foxy, and what's the young guy's name, Goffy? Dwayne. Dwayne, get on the phone, hit us up. We're happy to come along on Sunday. And I'll tell you what, it would be like we're going to go, if you get us on there, it will be the wider world of sport. In the Bar TV commentary team, we're happy to come down and provide you with entertainment and provide the Bar TV audience who will be, I think this game will be really well tuned into across the region. And from what I'm hearing, They want the Gingy and Fox to jump on with Dwayne. So hit us up.
Contact our media manager.
Goffy, we're going to leave it in the Goffy's hands. But Dwayne, give Goffy a ring. Bar TV. Ratings will go through the roof if the Gingy and the Fox are there supporting young Dwayne. We can give on-game commentary. We can give insight into both teams.
Yep. We
can also provide one hell of a, I think, pitch of entertainment with a capital E for entertainment. We would set the world alight, mate. But there you go. There's a plug for the Gingy and Foxy joining the commentary team on Sunday down at the Ballina footy ground. And for us,
nobody knows the Seagulls ground like you
like
and I,
us,
do they?
Mate, players, ex-Ballina players, ex-Ballina coaches, mate, we'd love to provide that entertainment to the viewing audience. So Bar TV, you'd be crazy if you didn't hit us up for that event.
Yeah. And
so
I'm tipping Ballina.
You're tipping Ballina, and I think I've already said what I think.
Yep.
Okay, let's jump into the rest of the podcast and finish this off, The home run, here we go. Let's jump straight into it. Goffy's Goss.
Goffy's Goss.
I'm only going to say two comments. No more pencils, and Goffy. Who dropped the pencils? Don't know. There you go. We'll leave it at that. No more said. So let's go on to the... Is there anything else, Goffy, you want to throw at us for tonight?
No. I just think, mate, that it's been an outstanding season, and I think that...
Northern's Canteen's the best.
Well, I've already said that is the best, but I think, mate, that...
Okay, Goffy, you said you had nothing, and now you're going to give us a bloody story. Can you stop there? Okay, audience, we're not going to let Goffy go on. Now, I'll just reiterate what he said from the behind the mic, from behind the screen. Goffy said it's been an absolutely great season in the NRRRL, and he absolutely loves the Northern Canteen. He'll be down there this weekend, hopefully to grab some food from that canteen. He's good for $50 worth at least. So he'll be there supporting that. We actually had some good comments from all of the teams that participated on Sunday down at the Oaks Oval venue about the Northern Canteen. Beautiful. So well done, ladies. Well done to all the volunteers that helped out on the weekend as well.
Well done to all the volunteers for every team.
Every club. Anyone that's a volunteer in the game across the whole of the NRRRL competition, from the Gingy and Big Foxy podcast, thank you. And no doubt, without the volunteers, we don't have a game. No. Without the volunteers, we don't have, functioning canteens, functioning games on game day. So thank you very much across the board. In the 13 teams that participate in every grade of the NRRRL in the 2023 season, thank you very much.
Well said, mate.
Let's get on to the whatevs.
Whatevs.
I'm going to jump straight into the Evans. I've just written here, Evans head. So I'm just going to go out on a limb. Mate, I'm going to throw it to you because I'm going to tell you, last 2 weeks ago, we played Evans down there. I copped a bit from the unnamed coach, or unknown coach, stand-in coach, I should say, who made it a point of his to come over and get in my grill.
It's good, isn't it?
And tell me exactly what was on his mind. The only thing I would say to the unknown coach is, silly Sunday, mad Monday. I'm not going to say any more than that. The other thing I'm going to say is, you copped a bit of a serve too from one of the players.
Yeah, one of the players kept saying to me 60 minutes, and I didn't know what was going on.
So can you remember why he called you 60 minutes?
I actually went home and I was thinking about it. It was on my mind.
You had a look at the podcast?
I actually had a phone call with Roy Bell.
Yep.
And then it just clicked to me that I remembered on the podcast.
Did Roy verify what did we provide the motivation? Did the podcast provide Evans Head the motivation to beat?
I did do the 60-minute call. They were last 60 minutes, but they end up winning the game against us. So proved me wrong. I'm gonna throw something out. Tooley, God, mate, I hope you're watching this. At the 58th minute or thereabouts, approximately 60, something happened at Evans Head on the weekend. What happened, Foxy? Kudrin got a bit of a roll on.
And what happened from there?
Scored a couple of tries.
60 minutes. So to the unknown coach, thanks for getting in my grill, but Foxy proved me right.
All right, moving along.
Okay, so here's another one. The Lower Clarence reserve graders. Served you, served me. Cody, big Cody Walker.
Must have been one of my great tippings, as I'm so good at tipping.
For some reason, Code, I'm glad you served me, but I'm glad you actually were serving him. Foxy is the person that you actually really served.
I'm surprised. I never get much things wrong, do I, Gingy?
That is the worst, absolute worst call ever. But anyway.
But it's great. Thanks for letting me know I got it wrong.
Big Code, thank you for telling the Foxy and myself you proved us wrong. And you definitely did that in a tough fought match with a 22-20 win over the Wollongbar Mustangs. In saying that, Code, as much as I hate to say this, we've both gone on record and we've tipped against you this weekend, mate. We're actually going with Coogin. So we hope you're watching, and we hope all the Lower Clarence supporters and everyone in the Lower Clarence Club are watching our podcast, because the big thing I want to talk about is, from what's happening, it's an absolute pleasure, and I love this. We've got so many more viewers now in Evans Head. We've got over 250 odd people in Evans Head, and I didn't even know that there was that many people in Evans. But everyone that lives down there must be watching the podcast now. Deese, thank you for telling us that that's exactly what's happening. We've also got a brand new supporter base of the podcast down at the Lower Clarence, or the Clarence region. So thank you, Cody. Thank you to the Lower Clarence and the Clarence people of the Clarence down at Grafton all the way through to Yamba and Maclean.
How good is it?
We know that we're very well watched up in the Tweed, and definitely here in the middle of Bungeland country in Lismore and Casino and down through to Ballina.
I'm glad everyone's watching
it's
and
great.
Enjoying it. And not only do we talk about first grade, we talk about reserve grade, under 18s, ladies league tag.
For all those people out there that are watching, can you please hit us up on our Facebook site? Hit Goffy up on the and Goffy will no doubt put up the Mark Goff Media Sport email address and site as well. Hit us up. Tell us how we can improve. Tell us what you want to see from the Gingy and the Fox. Tell us what you think about this year. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you like, what you didn't like, and tell us how we can improve for next year.
Yeah, first year of the podcast. We'd like to hear it so we can get better and better.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And also tell us maybe some of the people you'd like us to invite along and guest, whether we Skype them in.
Do you think we can get any better?
Oh, mate, if this is the best, I'd hate to see what the worst is. But in saying that, I'm going to just go off on a tangent here and just go, the only way for us on the podcast and from our commentary is definitely up. So, mate, touch wood. There's two things we got two things in the pipeline in the whatevs. I'm just gonna we got touch wood. We potentially have the knockout, which is Friday and Saturday. We're just waiting on confirmation. The Newcastle Emus. Newcastle Emus. God, jeez, I made a Freudian slip there. The Newcastle All Blacks. Sorry, Jake, but the Newcastle All Blacks are currently viewing whether they want coverage for Friday and Saturday of the ladies and the kids, and then Saturday of the men into the KO. So, touchwood, fingers crossed. But we've also got the knockout coming up here in Lismore on the 15th, 16th and 17th. And we're going to jump straight into that, mate. We're going to jump straight into the knockout. So, as we now know, the Northern United Aboriginal Rugby League knockout for 2023 to be held in Lismore on the 15th, 16th and 17th of September has now closed. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we've got 21 teams, so I apologise to the team that we've missed. In the men's draw, we've got 21 teams, but...
Let's go through the team list.
Let's go through the team list.
So we go for it this week or next week?
The team list?
Yeah.
Let's do it now.
Let's do it now.
So, before it goes out on the Northern United social media site, Facebook site, we're going to break the news. Oh. The 2023...
Are you allowed to do that?
I'm the coordinator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You're the coordinator.
There you go. So, the 2023 knockout...
So, if he's missed anyone, remember he's the
the coordinator. We actually have missed one team. And
call Benji.
Yeah, call me if you are the team that we've missed. We've missed one team. But we're going to go through the list. We've got 20, but there is 21. Out of the 22 teams, we've cut off at 21. And the teams are Torrance Descendants, 1 and 2.
Yep. Lismore Wanderers.
Lismore Wanderers. We've got the Inverell Roosters.
Jules Rabbitohs.
Julie's Rabbitohs. And I think they're a team from out at Inverell, Anawan Country, Armidale Way, I think. I could be wrong, but my tip is that's where it's from. We've got Nangabal Brothers representing the Nanganbull clan down here in the Ballina area, part of the Bundjalung Nation. We've got
The Tablum Turtle Divers.
The Turtle Divers are back. There we go.
Last year's grand finalists.
Was that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they were too. The Tablum Turtle Divers, coached by the Tweed Coast Raiders coach, Shane Robinson.
Yep.
So, Robbo, good luck with the Tablum Turtle Divers this year. You've got the Yambooraroos. They're definitely in, man. And I'll tell you, they're going to be strong. I'll tell you, based on Laurel Clarence's efforts this year, speaking to Brownie over the weekend, as disappointed as what he was after the loss on the weekend, the Yambooraroos are raring to go. They've already started training because obviously the Laurel Clarence guys are. So I think they'll mix in with the reserve grade boys in there and keep their training going. Beautiful. So they're in.
Mulla Raiders.
Mulla Raiders representing the Mulla Boogamah area out there in Bayugal.
It's good to see them in this year.
Steve O. Williams Memorial, Corikai.
Be a good side.
That will be a really good side, mate. I'm hearing really good things about that team. Your team.
Cabo.
There's the big Foxy is suiting up for the Cabestry Island Cabo Connection team, the Cabestry Island team.
2 minutes.
There you go. You only played 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Are you starting?
No way.
Are you really?
No way.
I heard you were starting.
No. You probably know more than me then.
Des, start the Fox. That's his only commentary game off is when you guys are playing. So I'll be looking for a guest commentator, and it won't be Goffy. So I'm just over the next couple of weeks in the podcast, anyone that's interested in coming to be a part of the commentary team for this year's Lismore knockout, Northern United knockout at Oaks Oval, please contact us through Facebook on the Gingy and Foxy Facebook site. Hit us up through the northern side as well, but we're looking for commentary, and we are looking for female commentators.
Yes.
So to help us commentate the
women's
games. So anyone that's out there, look, hit us up on our Facebook site. Hit us up on our media, through our media manager, Mark Goff, and Mark Goff Media Sport. Going right along, Casino All Blacks.
Casino All Blacks.
That'll be Foxy's team.
Yep. Very strong Casino All Blacks. They've made the grand final before.
This is a team very close to my heart, the Murray John Memorial team, all my family here in Lismore, representing my Uncle Gungi. Nicky is one of the team's organisers with, I think, young Khalil Hammond, coached, I think, this year by Willie Hammond, and supported, I think, as a player and part of the coaching staff is Isaiah Brown,
there you go.
future coach, I think, in his own space. He wants to. That's the direction young Isaiah's heading in. So
Kyle Benjamin,
he's playing.
Is he?
He's playing off the bench apparently.
Beautiful.
So he'll be out there having a run around. We've got
Cubblewee.
The Cubblewee Connection stacked team. This team.
They've made the final a few times, haven't they?
Mate, I think they're going to be
Still
good.
Chasing that grand final.
I'm hearing. I heard a name dropped on the weekend.
Yep.
Eli Roberts. They're a definite in.
I heard that too.
I think the other player that's playing is there's a couple of Northern blokes playing. I think Theo Hippai could be playing in this team. So I think they're going to have a really good team.
I think Jara Breckenridge.
Yeah,
maybe he's playing with the.
Mate, Jara throws himself around a bit. I'll tell you something about Jara Breckenridge. The Gigi. Guess what? Gingy Breckenridge. I'll tell you something about Jara. I'm going to put money on any team that he's playing with to be playing in the final.
Yep. All right.
He's going for 6 in a row.
He's been in a few finals.
He's going for 6 in a row. He's going for 6 in a row. And the other player that's going for 6 in a row, Brett Kelly. Yep, Brett Kelly. And he's playing with the Nanganbull brothers, or Nanganbull brothers. So one of those two could be playing in a final. They're going for 6 knockouts, 6 Lismore knockouts in a row.
Finals.
No.
Not wins.
No. Wins.
Oh.
So yeah. So look, follow that lead. The other team that is coming from out at Western Gomeroi country, Moree, Gordon Cope Memorial, is another team. Here's a big in.
NAB.
Newcastle All Blacks, the current title holders of the New South Wales Aboriginal Rugby League knockout. Newcastle All Blacks will be fielding a team in this year's Lismore knockout. And from what I'm hearing, it'll be a mix of the young blokes, the future of the NAB boys, a lot of sons, grandsons, nephews, all taking part in this team. And obviously they'll have a good wealth of experience around that team as well.
That's good to see them coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
Another team, Country Coastal Brothers. Burke.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's Burke. A lot of the Burke boys. Young Knight is part of that team, and I think that's going to be a very strong team as well. Victor Wright, Edley Vale Memorial, Kempsey. Gumbangi, my apologies for John, to John for this as well. Gumbangi, Yangay, Dean Jarrett Memorial. So that's John Jarrett's team this year. I think he's been helped out by Lance Dixon in this team. So there could be a bit of a Tweed Connection, which is the team that's going down to the big knockout this year, component of players in this team as well. So I'm hearing some good stuff about this team though.
All right.
The other team in there is the Stony Gully team, which takes us to 20. So there is 21 teams. There's one team that's not in that team. So there's one team I haven't got in there. So forgive me, and I'll come back to that next week. Let's go on to the women. There's 6 teams in the women's. So we were hoping to have 7. That's wound down to 6. You've got Cabotry Island in the women's draw. You've got Nullingar Dubs. Bloody good side, that one. They're going to the big knockout as well.
Yep.
Dungutty DeBear, Dolphins DeBear is what John tells me. Tweed Connection Stingrays, or Tweed Stingrays Connection. Shorty Memorial, and there is one other team to which I do really apologise. There is another team that's in the knockout this year, and
The Gingy's done this off the top of his head. And
it could be either the Tapetum Turtle Divers or Casino All Blacks, but I know it's one of those teams which make up the 6 teams. The women's competition will be played on the Friday. The men's competition will be played on Saturday, Sunday. Oaks Oval. At this stage, it could be a 1 venue. Touch wood, fingers crossed, we could potentially have 2, which is Crazy Oval.
Yep, and we'll confirm those teams next week on the podcast.
Yep. So,
beautiful.
Apart from that, there's only one thing left, mate, before we finish up. Shout-outs. Shout out to Gingy. Shout out. The first shout out is to the Evans Head unknown coach. And the shout out is from the Gingy. Hello, brother. My name's Chris Binge. I don't know who you are. I don't know what your name is. Might get to know you one day. If I don't, then so be it. That's rugby league. It's not about knowing everybody. It's just about being a part of the game. The other shout out here is to all those people, and I'll say it again, from down at Evans Head, all the people from out at the Clarence region that hit up the podcast, tap into the podcast every week.
Every club, every team.
Every club, every team. Thank you. It's been a great start to the final series. We hope to come back next week with some more wrap-ups of both Saturday and Sunday's rounds of the finals. And then also, again, can you please, people that want some shout-outs, hit us up on our Facebook site. Hit us up on the Mark Goff Media Sport Facebook site as well, in the email site. We'll get some shout-outs and we'll get some things going. And next week we might even do another. We might even get the Jacob Briggs to come on from a Skype and a Jace Munro to talk about the big knockout again for a short segment. But other than that, mate, that would be sayonara. Signing off. It's been a great night. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to everyone out there listening. And that, my friends, is a Gingy and Big Foxy and NRRRL wrap.